There is a lot that students do not really know about learning, and there are many ways we can improve how we learn. Retrieval practice is one technique that can help us learn more and retain it far longer than other standard ways of studying. With as much learning as we get going through school as children, there are some things that we fail to pick up. One of those things is usually effective study habits. Many times, students fail to realize that they are using ineffective study habits simply because the correct information is not being given to them. Two of the most popular study habits, rereading and cramming, do little to aid in learning. This shows that people are not good at determining when they are learning well or poorly. With little information to go on, they stick with what seems to work best for them, despite not showing lasting results. Often these habits are emphasized by respected institutions or instructors, especially rereading. There is a tendency to believe that the more we expose ourselves to something, we are more likely to remember that thing forever. However, this belief is not supported by empirical evidence. As a result, students, listening to their instructor's advice, faithfully reread their textbooks and notes before each test. Rereading consists of reading textbooks and notes multiple times in close succession. Studies show that students who read a text more than once only perform slightly better on exams than students who only read the text one time. On a delayed test, there is no benefit to rereading at all. This indicates that simple, repeated exposure is not enough to embed a subject into your long-term memory. Cramming, or massed practice, is the process of studying as much as possible in a short amount of time before a quiz or an exam. Students often feel more comfortable with the material after cramming for exams. However, studies show that spacing out practice results in significantly better performance. One study shows candidates studying for 60 minutes and others studying 15 minutes a week over 4 weeks. Those that studied for 15 minutes a week performed better than the alternative. Another study found that cramming the night before an exam can improve performance on a test the following day. However, the forgetting that follows is rapid, with students forgetting almost half of the material that they studied just a day after the exam. So, if these popular methods are not the most efficient way to study, then what should we do instead? The act of pulling information from your memory is known as retrieval practice. This can be done in a variety of ways, most often through a series of asking and answering questions, whether it is self-quizzing or being tested formally in class. Implementing this as a study strategy is one of the most effective things you can do to improve your learning. Testing is the backbone of retrieval practice. It isn't just a way to assess how much you have learned in a class. Students tend to perform better in classes with more quizzes and tests than fewer. For example, one professor changed his class structure to incorporate 9 quizzes across the semester instead of 3 exams, and was pleasantly surprised with his students' performance. One difference that you will notice between college and grade school is a lot of classes in college only have 2 exams, a midterm and a final. Thus, there are fewer opportunities to practice retrieval in class. Because of this, college students must be extra careful to be self-driven in implementing retrieval practice in their study times. To gain the benefits of retrieval practice, quizzing does not have to be administered by someone else. Some techniques can be done on your own without the aid of a professor. Often these techniques are more difficult than just rereading notes in textbooks, but their effects on learning will be deeper and longer lasting. The effort that is invested in retrieval practice is one of the reasons that it is such an effective learning tool. Short answer or essay questions on tests are known to produce better results than multiple choice tests due to the increased cognitive effort. The myth that easier learning is better is incorrect. So if you find yourself struggling in a class, don't be afraid. This is a natural part of the learning process, and you'll be better off long term for the effort that you put in now. Effort can be increased by spacing out practice and study times to the point where forgetting occurs. Each time you space your studying, you have to do some relearning to remember what you studied last time. This effort and repetition help to make the memory cues connected to that material stronger. Studies show that when pharmacy students were given quizzes in smaller, spaced increments, they performed significantly better than those who did not. Being deliberate about your study schedule can have large effects on your performance and learning. You might be wondering, what are some specific ways to use this information? One way to practice retrieval on your own time is to regularly quiz yourself. Some professors will provide study guides, or a textbook will include quiz questions with answers in the back of the book. Using these resources can be a handy way to test yourself quickly over class content on your own time. It is also a way to receive feedback on your performance, which adds even more benefit to your learning. Many times, however, the professor will not provide a study guide, and the textbooks will not have questions written into the book. Instead, you can make up your own questions and fill in the answers for yourself. This produces the same benefit as if you were to use questions prepared by someone else. Or, instead of making your quizzes, ask yourself questions as you read through your texts or notes. Ask yourself questions like, what are the main points? And how can I relate this to what I already know? Everyone knows about flashcards. This is a great application of retrieval practice, and it is easy to practice on your own. You can put different key ideas or subjects on a stack of index cards and put their definitions on the back. Then, quiz yourself on each one. One thing to remember is that students tend to perform better on exams if they do not remove the flashcards they answer correctly from the stack while studying. So, even if you feel confident that you know something, keep quizzing yourself on it repeatedly to cement it into your long-term memory. One form of retrieval practice is reflection. Reflection involves taking a few moments to yourself and going over an experience or class session. Ask yourself questions like, what went well? What could have gone better? Or, what should I do differently next time? This will help strengthen what you learn and help you find new ways to apply the material to your life. This can take the form of just self-reflection, asking yourself these questions, or keeping a journal to collect your thoughts for each class. One study found that students who used reflections in a service learning context had a significantly better grasp of how they can make an impact on their community compared to those who did not reflect on their experiences. When studying for tests, it is important to space out your retrieval practice. As mentioned before, spaced retrieval practice can benefit retention. Try starting earlier and planning your studying with a day between each session. Or you can practice self-quizzing after each lecture, then study the previous lecture material as well, since most college classes are only held 2 to 3 times a week.